Hi, little toads. Grammy here with a picture book called One Grain of Rice. This story takes place in India. And all I can see in terms of an author is somebody named Demi. Let's see. Demi, just one name. Okay. One grain of rice. This book is about something called geometric progression. It's a book about math in some ways, but it's also a great story. Long ago in India, there lived a Raja who believed that he was wise and fair, as a Raja should be. The people in his province were rice farmers. The Raja decreed that everyone must give nearly all of their rice to him. I will store the rice safely, the Rajah promised the people, so that in time of famine everyone will have rice to eat and no one will go hungry. Each year, the Rajah's rice collectors gathered nearly all of the people's rice and carried it away to the royal storehouses. For many years, the rice grew well. The people gave nearly all of their rice to the Rajah, and the storehouses were always full, but the people were left with only just enough rice to get by. Doesn't look to me like the people are doing very well there. Look at this little family. Then one year the rice grew badly and there was famine and hunger. The people had no rice to give to the Rajah and they had no rice to eat. The Rajah's ministers implored him, "Your Highness, let us open the royal storehouses and give the rice to the people as you promised." "No," cried the Rajah. "How do I know how long the famine may last? I must have the rice for myself. Promise or no promise, a Rajah must not go hungry." Oh, what a terrible, selfish thing to do. Time went on and the people became more and more hungry, but the Rajah would not give out the rice. One day the Rajah ordered a feast for himself and his court, as it seemed to him a Rajah should now and then, even when there is a famine. A servant led an elephant from the royal storehouse to the palace carrying 2 full baskets of rice. A village girl named Rani saw that a trickle of rice was falling from one of the baskets. Quickly, she jumped up and walked along beside the elephant, catching the falling rice in her skirt. She was clever and she began to make a plan. At the palace, a guard cried, "Halt, thief! Where are you going with that rice?" "I am not a thief," Ronnie replied. "This rice fell from one of the baskets, and I'm returning it now to the Rajah." When the Rajah heard about Ronnie's good deed, he asked his ministers to bring her before him. "I wish to reward you for returning what belongs to me," the Rajah said to Ronnie. "Ask me for anything, and you shall have it." "Your Highness," said Ronnie, I do not deserve any reward at all, but if you wish, you may give me 1 grain of rice." "Only 1 grain of rice?" exclaimed the Rajah. "Surely you will allow me to reward you more plentifully, as a Rajah should." "Very well," said Rani. "If it pleases your highness, you may reward me in this way. Today you will give me a single grain of rice. Then each day for 30 days you will give me double the rice that you gave me the day before. Thus, tomorrow you will give me 2 grains of rice, the next day 4 grains of rice, and so on for 30 days. Ooh, look at the peacocks. "This seems to be a modest reward," said the Rajah, "but you shall have it." As Rani was presented with a single grain, of rice. See that? The next day, Rani was presented with 2 grains of rice, and the following day, Rani was presented with 4 grains of rice. Can you see those little grains of rice? On the 9th day, Rani was presented with 256 grains of rice. Is that possible? By just doubling it every day for 9 days? She had received in all 511 grains of rice, only enough for a small handful. This girl is honest, but not very clever, thought the Rajah. She would have gained more rice by keeping what fell into her skirt. On the 12th day, Rani received 2,048 grains of rice, about 4 handfuls. On the 13th day, she received 4,096 grains of rice, enough to fill a bowl. On the 16th day, Rani was presented with a bag containing 32,768 grains of rice. Altogether, she had enough rice for 2 full bags. This doubling adds up to more rice than I expected, thought the Rajah, but surely her reward won't amount to much more. On the 20th day, Rani was presented with 16 more bags filled with rice. On the 21st day, she received 1,048,576 grains of rice, enough to fill a basket. On the 24th day, just 3 days later, Rani was presented with 8,388,608 grains of rice, enough to fill 8 baskets, which were carried to her by 8 royal deer. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deer with 8 big baskets of rice. Is this even possible? Look at this. Look at all of these cows. On the 27th day, 32 Brahma bowls were needed to deliver 64 baskets of rice. The Rajah was deeply troubled. 1 grain of rice has grown very great indeed, he thought, but I shall fulfill the reward to the end, as a Rajah should. He's still got 4 days to go. No, 3 days to go. On the 29th day, Rani was presented with the contents of 2 royal storehouses. Look at all of these camels with baskets and baskets and baskets of rice. That is crazy. Oh, they're There's still more over here. Oh my goodness. This is hard to see, but look at these pages fold out. And look at all of these elephants carrying all of these baskets of rice. On the 30th and final day, 256 elephants crossed the province carrying the contents of the last 4 royal storehouses, 536,870,912 grains of rice. Altogether, there's Ronnie at the top of a great big pile of rice. And here is the Raja trying to figure out how in the world this girl basically fooled him into giving away all of the rice in all of his storehouses. Look at these mountains of rice and all of these animals. Altogether, Ronnie had received more than 1 billion grains of rice. The Raja had no more rice to give. And what will you do with this rice? Said the Raja with a sigh. Now that I have none, I shall give it to all the hungry people, said Ronnie, and I shall leave a basket of rice for you. If you promise from now on to take only as much rice as you need. I promise, said the Raja. And for the rest of his days, the Raja was truly wise and fair, as a Raja should be. Oh, look at this. There's like a chart on here that shows how it grows. On day 1, there's just 1 grain of rice. Day 2 is 2. Day 3, 2 times 2 is 4. Look at that. 4 times 2 is 8. Still doesn't look like much. Doubled to 16, to 32, to 64. Look at that. Look how fast that grows. Isn't that interesting? How quickly 1 grain of rice, if you just double it every day for just 30 days, and all of a sudden you have all of this rice. But she didn't have just this much rice that she got on day 30. She had all of this rice. So we'd have to add all of these numbers together. And according to the story, it was over 1 billion grains of rice. I find that story very, very interesting. See, math can be very, very interesting and very fun and can really kind of boggle your mind, when you start playing with numbers, like anything can happen. Did you like that story about 1 grain of rice? I did.